45 South Africans die on the roads every single day. Yes, the carnage on South African roads continues unabated over the current festive season as well. 45 people, as I said, on average have lost their lives daily on South Africa's roads since the beginning of December. So far, 845 road users have died, which is an increase of around 17% compared to last year during this exact same period. Now, the Transport Minister, Dipuo Peters, is planning to convene an urgent meeting with all traffic chiefs and their regional directors of provinces with high fatalities to reduce the number of road fatalities. The Department of Transport would also engage with the Department of Justice in a bid to introduce minimum sentences for negligent and reckless driving. Now, the Transport Minister released preliminary figures during a media briefing 19 days into the festive season. Our reporter Nozintombi Miya talked to the Minister on the ever-rising death toll on our roads.
We're seeing 17% of the fatalities increase on last year numbers. We're seeing the number of crashes having increased with 16%. We are conscious of the fact that this year, unlike many other years, we've got the unprecedented number of long weekends, extended long weekends. It is now the past one of the 16th to the 18th, will be followed by the Christmas one from the 23rd to the 27th, and then we'll be faced with the New Year one. So already it gives you an indication that we've got this extended periods. Weekends by nature in our law enforcement environment are a challenge. The evenings from 8 o'clock till early hours of the morning are a challenge. Now, if you put the weekend, you put the evenings where people actually enjoy their festive period throughout the evenings, because during the day they are doing shopping, in the evening they have now parties. So this is the biggest challenge that we have. And we are conscious of the fact that we also have new drivers, we have new vehicles, we've got other factors like many of the firms having closed, many of the companies having closed, people have taken holiday. We also have a problem of the volumes of alcohol that is available this time of the year. They also added to it is the human element of the body itself being physically tired and mentally tired. This is the time people are supposed to be resting, but people are actually traveling more.
Minister, another big issue that contributes to the increased number of road fatalities is driver behavior and drunken driving. That really seems to be a sticking point for you throughout this campaign.
Drunken driving is a problem, but add to it people who drink and walk. So drunken walkers or pedestrians is a big challenge. People go on Facebook whilst they are driving. So that in itself is a big challenge. We're appealing to our people to give themselves time to rest, because that is also another element where people generally don't rest. They don't sleep enough, they don't drink a lot of water to hydrate, and they become irritable. That's why we've got serious problems of road rage. In actual fact, some of the crashes has been attributed to rage. People just feeling that this one has been overtaking me, I'm going to show him or her, I will actually overtake him. That in itself is also rage. So we believe we need to deal with those.
But looking at it provincially, Limpopo seems to be a province that has seen an increase in road fatalities. What are some of the other hotspots besides Limpopo, and what could have been attributed to that?
The following Limpopo is in Mpumalanga, KZN, and the Free State. You'd know the Free State is a thoroughfare. Many of the people coming from Gauteng and other parts of the country pass through the Free State to go through to their destinations. So that is one of the areas that we have seen is a big challenge, and we're encouraging the Free State fraternity to increase their visibility, to increase their tightness in terms of law enforcement. But also KZN, by nature, quite a number of the people flock to KZN from Gauteng, from many parts for holiday periods. And we believe that the attraction of the beaches in itself, even to the Western Cape, is actually creating this actual numbers increasing.
Minister, speaking of law enforcement, what have you done so far to step up police visibility and to get greater inter-law enforcement cooperation?
Despite the fact that we don't have 24-hour service in terms of law enforcement in the traffic fraternity, during the festive periods, we actually introduce and implement 24 hours. What we have also realized is that there's a shortage of manpower, the officers, and we have been able to make an appeal to all provinces to increase the human capital, the manpower and the officers.
You also spoke about the issue of male aggressive behavior, and that seemed to contribute quite highly to the level of road rages and perceived aggressive behavior on the roads.
It's our male counterparts. The figures does indicate predominantly male and black. And it is important that we appeal, and we are appealing to our male counterparts, the aggression that we see on our roads. Don't do your verpa and opening the pipes of the car and boasting to Pete or John or Johannes that your car is better than his. Don't do that, because when you do that, you are actually creating a problem for yourselves and other motorists. We're saying these cars, we know they have got the capacity. The mere fact that you have your dream machine, like they call them, does not mean you must go and test it out on the road. These cars have already been tested by the manufacturers and the dealers. You don't have to further test it on the road. If you want to do that, there is extreme sports areas that the Ministry of Sports is working on as part of recreation, but also department like the motoring industry with Kyalami and all those. Go there if you want to go and show the power of your vehicle. There is places in this country where you can go and show it off. Those people who do that at Kyalami and the motor racing areas, don't do it on the road. And that is why it is important that you also learn from them, that there is a place where you can compete. Go and join them there.
Let's talk about something that is a bit more serious, the issue of bribery and corruption. And it does seem to work both ways. We do seem to have passengers who will go out of their way to try and get to bribe officers to get out of tickets and not take responsibility for their driving action. But we also do have officials who do not necessarily conduct themselves in a manner that they should.
To deal with criminality and corruption in our system, I'm happy to indicate that we intend to introduce the cameras that each and every law enforcement officer would have, which would record the law enforcement officer and the transgressor, which is the motorist. In that way, it will also show, we are informed, the number of our motorists who come, and when they are stopped, they have cash, ready cash in their pockets, in the shirt pocket, to show the officer that there is money here. And as they speak, they direct his eyes to the money. But also they offer them and say, I will buy you a cold drink, I will give you this. I'm happy to indicate there is a law enforcement officer in the Free State who has already arrested 2 people who tried to bribe him, one with a 90 rand and another one with 100 rand. And also you would know in the previous period, there was also a traffic law enforcement officer who even took the money, a picture with the driver's license of the person who was offering him the cash. We are saying, don't tempt our law enforcement officers. Don't offer them bribes. We also say to our law enforcement officers, don't solicit bribes. We're also saying to our motorists, if a law enforcement officer solicits a bribe from you, report him to the nearest police, take his details, report him to the RTMC, Road Traffic Management Hotline, report him and make it possible that we follow the case and deal with the offender.